Psalms 34 verse 1 says, I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise shall continually be in my mouth. In spite of whatever it is that you may be facing right now, I encourage you to say with me, God, you are still good, and I will bless your name. You are good, good, good. You are good, so good. My heart will always sing. Since time began, my life was in your hands. You knew this test I'd have to stand. So Father, here I am in brokenness. I stand, yet still my soul cries out, you're good. You are good, still good. You are good, so good. My heart will always sing. You are good, good, good. You are good, so good. My soul shall ever sing. You are good. You are good. You in spite of everything, despite of all the pain, I will bless your name. For you are good in spite of everything, despite of all the hurt and all the pain. I'll still bless your name. For you are good, my heart will always sing. My soul shall ever sing. Oh, give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good. I worship.
Top of the afternoon
Hello,
to one
hello,
and
good
all.
afternoon.
Yes, we are here
What's up,
once
Brother
again.
Keron? Yes, good
Brother
afternoon,
Garvin.
Brother Keron. You here? Yeah, you're hearing me? Yes, we are here once again, Brother Keron. Good afternoon. Welcome to When Men Talk. My name is Garvin, Vincent, and there is my host as well, Brother Keron. Brother Keron, are you hearing me? All right. It seems that we are again a little problem on Brother Keron's side. You know, due to the curfew and the lockdown, we cannot be in the same space. So we are at home we are in our home space at home, and we are, streaming live there on Facebook. This evening we have someone who is not a stranger to this platform, someone who is well known to our viewers who are accustomed being with us here on When Men Talk, and he is none other than Dr. Oben. Right? So we are going to chat to Dr. Oben this evening. Good afternoon, Dr. Oben. How are you?
Hi, good afternoon, Brother Garvin. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm fine. Despite of the circumstances, the lockdown at home and other stuff, but we are doing good. But Keron, are you there? Are you hearing me?
Yes, hearing you now.
Nice.
Nice.
Welcome. Despite of the lockdown and the coffee, we cannot be in the same space, but God is good. Yeah,
All the
God is
time.
good.
Hi,
So
hi, 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 Brother
we are
James.
here this evening. Yes, we are here this evening, and we are chatting with Dr. Oben, who is not a stranger to us, on this platform. Yeah,
Absolutely,
and
absolutely.
yeah, so Dr. Oben, we were chatting earlier, and we were saying that we are very grateful that you could give us an hour of your time, because we know you are so busy these days. Yeah, Brother Keron,
Yes,
so
indeed.
yeah,
Uh,
you are very busy with all that is going on right now in Tobago extension, Trinidad and Tobago, with all
it's
these
it's
COVID
it's all
cases and yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, yes, all the healthcare workers, man. It's all of us. Everybody
Yeah.
right now on the front line. They are,
Mhm.
everyone is doing their best these days. So, please, when you have time, always extend
Yes,
that
yes,
greeting and show that love to every one of them. All the healthcare workers. Don't just stop by and say hi. If you have them on WhatsApp,
yes,
just find out how they're doing and send a message to us, because we really need everybody.
yes,
Yeah.
totally agree.
Mm,
Totally
yeah.
agreed.
Hmm.
Yes, totally agreed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So Dr. Ben, we know this conversation we're gonna have this evening, sometimes is very intriguing. It's very in depth. So we want to get straight into it. Um,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
we first thing I want to ask you is about people who is going to get the vaccine.
Mm.
What are the steps you think that they should take before they get the vaccine?
Okay. Number one, I think the vaccine now is by appointment, correct? So
Yeah,
the first thing you have to do is confirm your appointment on that day before you go in, and I would recommend that you have a good meal. You hydrate yourselves very well, and and just present yourself to the health center. The other thing is, don't be afraid to have a conversation with the nurses or the healthcare workers or doctors that are administering the vaccine. Some of your concerns, some of your worries, some of your fears. Always have a conversation with them. You could take your if you for those on medications, you could take your medications as normal. For those, say for example, hypertensive, you could take your normal hypertensive medications before going in to get your vaccine. But if you're worried or concerned about anything, always call the center, and find out questions before you present yourself on that day. But I think that is the basic. Hydrate yourself, eat well, and then go about your day like normal, and then present yourself at the center. Hmm.
yeah.
Hmm.
So let's say that you have a underlying disease. You have asthma, you have sickle cell, you have high blood pressure and stuff like that. Taking
Hmm.
the vaccine, does it act up your underlying, or is it dangerous to your underlying disease or anything like that?
Well, I have not. We've had so many meetings. My consultant and head of department, Dr. Sami has had so many meetings with us concerning COVID. We get daily updates about COVID-19, about the vaccine. As well, we as physicians, we are responsible for reading different articles about the COVID-19 vaccine. I've not seen anywhere where it says that when you have an underlying condition, it would affect you from taking the vaccine. In fact, it's quite the opposite. If you remember clearly, the first people that they'll be rolling out, or they rolled out the vaccines to, were people with comorbidities, because those are the most vulnerable persons with hypertension, persons with diabetes. So if that were the case, they would not have rolled out the vaccines for them. So I do think it is there is no, I've not read anywhere where it is a contraindication to taking the vaccine, your comorbidities. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a question.
Sure.
And it stems from, what are you seeing in terms of reactions from people who are taking the vaccine? What allergic reactions are they experiencing, if any? And
Mm-hmm.
how much people are, approximate percentage of how many people are experiencing side effects?
Okay. So I think there are two questions there that you asked. The first one is, have I seen anyone with allergic reactions from the vaccine? And the second one, I think you were saying, is that persons with side effects from the vaccine, and what are the common side effects? So I would start with the second question. Side effects. Absolutely. My own experience when I went, I don't know if last time I told you, I did have severe side effects. I had, and that was because I was unprepared, and one thing I want to encourage everyone is that COVID-19 has no favorites. It's not a condition only for it. Like people would say, well, it doesn't affect doctors. It affected me as well. Not the virus itself, but the side effects from the vaccine. In terms of, I had severe muscle pain. I had severe joint pains. I had severe fever, and that was because on the day I was supposed to receive the vaccine, I must be honest, I did not eat before going to get the vaccine. I worked the night before, and when I got home, I just started working. I had to clean the house, I had to prepare a meal. And so then I realized it was 10 a.m. I had to go take the vaccine. So I had not eaten, I had not hydrated myself for the day. I went in, I got the vaccine. They monitored me for 30 minutes and then sent me home. I had no reaction then. When I got home, I continued working, because sometimes we have to, work on our off days, so I continued working, and by that evening at about 9 p.m, 11 p.m, I didn't have any medications, no pain medications, and I started developing a fever. So I did have side effects, which were fever, severe muscle aches, and joint pains. But after taking medications, Panadol, in 3 days I was better. In 3 days I was better. And the good thing about the health center is that the nurses there, they called me every 3 days to find out how I was doing. I thought I was special until they told me that they were calling everybody as well. So they do call everybody, and they try to find out how you are doing. And that's a beautiful thing. So yes, you do have side effects. It ranges from very mild, some people had no side effects, to severe. And the nurses will guide you as to what to do. But Panadol hydration works, right? Allergic reactions. I have not had any case or heard anyone suffer from allergic reactions from the vaccine. And in terms of figures, I don't have figures to show you, well, X amount of people had allergic reactions. I think when they finish the process of vaccination, those figures will be made available to us.
Okay, nice.
Mhm.
Excellent job on the nurses behalf. Want to
Yes.
commend them for that.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
Garvin?
Mhm.
Yeah. That is excellent job by our frontline workers, because it's, I know for a fact it's not easy. You mentioned before, Ben, you have to work on your off days.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
sometimes we will think that if we don't have our off days, if you don't have that time to rest, you might not be able to function in the way that it's supposed to function 100%.
yeah.
But
Of
Yeah.
somehow
course.
it seems that these workers are functioning, and hats off to them, right?
Yeah, yeah.
What happened? I want to say, Dr. Oben, is that a couple weeks ago, a friend of mine and her mom went and take the vaccine. Her
Mm-hmm.
mom is about 85, 87, and she's about 45, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
After they took the vaccine, she experienced some side effects. She have the nausea, the fever, and stuff like that. Her
Mm-hmm.
mom was good, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And she took it the Thursday, and by the Saturday, her mom got really ill. Now, they took her mom to the hospital, and what they said is that she had an intestine problem some years ago, and she did an operation, and it
Mm-hmm.
happened again. But what they said is that it would have happened sometime in the near future. So what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying, I'm wondering if the vaccine had speed up that process of it happening, right? And if it was a good thing as well, because it might have caught her off guard some way later on in life, and but they dealt with it and she's okay now. But with
Mm-hmm.
certain sickness that you might have in your body, something happening in your body, if you take the vaccine, will it show it up?
Mm. That's a very good question, and that's a common question. I see someone also had on Facebook here. If you're asthmatic, can you take the vaccine?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um, the answer to that question is going to sound a little bit very confusing. The first thing is that I would say I don't know, and the reason I would say that is because this COVID-19 is very new to us, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
very new. It's 1 year old, and we are struggling at different phases. The first phase is to protect the public. We're supposed to protect the public. The second phase is, we're supposed to educate the public, and we're supposed to get the public out of this storm that we are in right
Yeah.
now. So in doing that, vaccinating individuals is the way forward to get us out of this storm. The other
Right.
questions which are burning everybody in terms of, okay, did it activate another illness? Did it cause some other illness to get worse? Those are questions that I am very sure that with time, and with continuous investigations and research, we will have concrete answers to tell you that yes, this is what is happening right now. Everything seems to be coincidental. The question you ask yourself is it coincidental that at that same time she happened to have that abdominal problem, she had the vaccine, and then
Yeah.
it made it worse? Or you may be right, it could be
Yeah.
that the vaccine made the situation worse. At this point in time, we thank God that she is doing well, and the answer to
Yes.
that,
Very well.
we will be able to get a definite answer sometime in the future when we've gone out of this storm. Then we'll sit back as scientists, as researchers, to look into it and see if that's true, if it happens, if it could happen, right? And yeah, if it could happen. The one with asthmatic, if you're asthmatic, can you take the vaccine? In some places, if you're currently having asthma, if you're currently coughing and your chest is tight, and you're feeling bad, I don't think they will give you the vaccine at that time. I think they would first of all treat your asthma and then reschedule you for a vaccine. But if you just have a history of asthma, it is controlled, and you've not had any flare up, you could take the vaccine. But remember that now is the cold season, is the wet season. This is the time where people's asthmas will start to flare up,
Yeah.
right? So
Mhm.
it is less likely that is the vaccine causing it. And remember that COVID-19 is almost like it's a viral condition. So it's like the flu.
Yeah.
So how do you then know if it's the flu causing it or if it's COVID-19 causing it? All right. So I don't want everybody to think that, oh, when your asthma starts to flare up is because it's COVID-19, right?
Yeah.
But it's a very good question to ask. I think the nurses administering the vaccines, they have the right answers for you. So if you go on the day, tell them about your asthma, have a conversation about if you're taking medications for your asthma. They would ask you so many questions, and then after that they will determine if they should give it to you.
Okay.
Okay,
Mhm. Yeah.
something good. And what
Yeah.
about vaccines coming in? We are expecting some new vaccines to come. And
Right.
that'll be like what? Sinopharm?
Right. Um, I must say that we have very capable physicians in Trinidad and Tobago that are guiding us. So every decision they make in terms of the type of vaccine they're getting into the country, it's been properly researched. And I read up about some of those vaccines as well. You're supposed to have a particular type of license, which is the WHO emergency license for vaccines. So each vaccine is supposed to have been approved by WHO. And I saw that Sinopharm was one of them that was approved by WHO. The process of acquiring those vaccines, getting it into the country, is not something that I am aware. I don't know. But to be honest, from the past year, for the past year, since when COVID-19 started up to now, I, as a physician, I'm in just complete awe, and I'm amazed at the leadership coming from above in terms of guiding the public as to which vaccine to get, when to give the vaccine, the different types of vaccine, and the different phases that they're rolling out the vaccine to the public. So I cannot say I completely trust them 100% because you can only say that about God, when you're talking about, but I think they are doing the right things for the country. Yeah.
Nice.
All
Mhm.
right.
And also, how does the vaccines play against strains, the different strains? But we have different strains now. India strain.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. So I think the first vaccine, that's the one I read of, AstraZeneca, works very fine against those strains. That's the one I took. Those were the first ones, and I've taken both doses as well. I think it fares well up with those strains, and again, we do have the public health department in Trinidad. I think they are working very 24/7 to try to make sure that those vaccines, the ones that they're giving to us, fare against those strains. The particular research on Sinopharm against those strains, I will tell you right now, I have not read it. I've not seen it, and then I've not read it, but if I get the answer, I'll definitely communicate it to you, whether it's on a forum like this, whether it's via text. If somebody just remind me, like in a week's time, I might give you the answer. I'll look for it and give it to you. Mhm.
All right. Here what I want to know, Dr. Oben.
Yeah.
So let's say that I took the Sinopharm this week, right?
Say that again.
And
Sorry, you were
they tell me
breaking
to
up
come back
there.
in the next. Oh, sorry. So if I took the Sinopharm like this week, right? I took my first shot of Sinopharm,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I
Mm-hmm.
have to go back for my next shot of Sinopharm, let me say in the next 4 weeks or so, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Does it have to be, sorry, does it have to be the same vaccine? Can I take the Sinopharm and first shot and take AstraZeneca in the second shot? Does it have to be the same brand of vaccine?
I think logically, and the easier answer to that is, I think it's recommended that you take the same. you know and I think that is the step the government is trying to follow. The mixing of vaccination at this stage, or mixing of vaccines at this stage, um, I've not heard or read where, mixing vaccines, what are the side effects or what are the complications of mixing the vaccine at this stage. In the future, I'm pretty sure there are going to be cases where one person decides to take AstraZeneca, they realize that they don't want it, they don't like it, they switch to maybe a Moderna or something else and they take it. But again, at this stage, I think what the government is trying to do is keeping things very simple. I think they will structure it in such a way that if they're running out of a particular vaccine, they would ensure that those people who have taken the first dose, they will make the
Right.
second dose to them available. So I don't
Okay.
think it's a
Okay.
situation where you should fear that if you take the first dose, you might run out on taking the second dose and then they'll switch you to another dose. I don't think that's not what they'll do. Everything that is done will be related to the public. They will not hide any information at all from the public. Everything that's done will be related to the public.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's
Excellent.
one of the questions we want to know. Um,
Yeah.
so as far as you know, how many people did I know you're not in the health centers where they are doing all
Mhm.
of the vaccination, but
Mhm.
to your knowledge, can you tell me approximately how many people or in Tobago have gotten their second shot?
The second shots. That's a good question because I think I saw a flyer somewhere in Tobago, but I did not see Tobago. I saw Trinidad and Tobago, and somebody should correct me. I think that flyer was in about upwards of 1,500, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, with the second shot. There was a flyer circulating this week that I glanced at, and it was upwards of 1,500 persons, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm wrong, someone should just let me know, please. For those watching, I think it's on the
Okay.
flyer. Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm. Yeah.
And with cases not decreasing as you would like,
Hmm.
how does that fare in the minds of people? Like, should that be an encouragement for them to go get vaccinated because they're in some of the population vaccinated and cases going up, numbers upwards of 500.
Yeah.
So how should the
Um,
people respond then?
well, I would want to think that negative outcomes, people dying and cases getting worse, should not be a reason for you to go now and take a vaccine. A negative outcome should not be the reason why you now want to go and take a vaccine. I know. So taking the vaccine really I would really want to encourage people to really um, educate, get to know what they are doing, in terms of know that the vaccine reduces your chances of getting COVID or getting a severe infection from COVID. And it also helps you protect your loved ones, your those who have comorbidities around you. In the past few days, I'm pretty sure someone was just telling me, his brother Garvin was telling me that the numbers are now becoming persons, the numbers are now becoming people we know. And I think nobody ever thought that, this thing is going to hit home the way it's hit home in the past 1 2 weeks. I've gotten calls, I've gotten people scared and texting me and telling me where to go and get it, but they're doing that out of fear. And the reason you don't want to do that is because anything that is done hastily or out of fear, you might end up probably doing something wrong. So I prefer that you get some education. Try to say, okay, listen, try to know what the vaccine is all about, the reasons why you're getting it. Try to identify a health center. We've talked about the potential side effects that you know now. So I'm thinking everybody now should start hydrating themselves, boosting their immune systems, making sure that they get the necessary medications, Panadol. Everybody should have a little kit at home that includes a thermometer, some Panadol, vitamin C, and then you keep doing what you're doing. Listen to the news, especially the Ministry of Health page, and those should be the reasons for you to go and get the vaccine, not the numbers that are increasing or the number of deaths. Because the more people that get the vaccine, the more we are educated about the vaccine, that is the real chance that we have in reducing the numbers and reducing the amount of people dying from this condition.
Excellent. I love that response.
Yeah.
Also,
Mhm.
the education of the means of not the vaccine, the virus
Yeah.
transmitting from person to person. Let us
Mhm.
control it as best as
Yeah.
we can. Take the personal
Absolutely.
action that is needed. I love that
Absolutely.
response. What do you think, Brother Garvin?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is excellent. And we need to really sensitize the public. Well, I don't think we really need to sensitize the public anymore because we already know, as Dr. Oben
Yeah.
said, this virus have been around a year and more ongoing. And
Mhm.
we keep on talking about washing your hands and wear a mask and the social distances, and we know what we have to do.
Yeah.
We know what we have to do to keep this virus at bay, but somehow it's still not being done. But Dr. Oben, you mentioned something about doing our own research, or not research, but to find out more, educate ourselves more about the vaccine. I know
Mhm.
sometimes we might go to the website or we might pull up the side effect of, let me say, the Sinopharm, and sometimes we see like 95, 95 different side effect of Sinopharm, and that way, that is where I get a little bummy, you know, but it seems to me like a lot of people um is feeling comfortable with this Sinopharm. I'm not sure, right? From what
Mhm.
I'm hearing, a lot of people is taking this Sinopharm. And as you said before, once we do that, what we're supposed to do, hydrate, um, get a meal. And I think all the side effect from all the vaccine is treatable because most of the time is headache, fever, and a little nausea and a little body pain. So all these can be treated with painkillers or something like that. Yeah.
What's interesting and what's funny is that COVID-19, first and foremost, it's a virus, and it's almost in the same category of most of these viruses that show themselves. Um, I would tell you this. What is interesting in medical school, there is something we call medical school disease, medical students disease. What that entails is that every time a medical student reads about a new condition, they think that they have it. So the day they teach you about the liver and they tell you that the liver causes liver failure, you would have pain in your belly and that kind of thing. Every medical student goes to, or the majority of medical students, they go back home and they start thinking, boy, that abdominal pain I had the last time, um, that abdominal pain that I had the last time is because of my liver, and they start
Mm-hmm.
getting worried. So I would say
Yeah.
that the normal human reaction to everything is that, oh, my condition is related to the current condition that they're thinking about. So, yes, some people may have headaches, they may have body pains, which may be completely unrelated to COVID 19, but it makes things worse in their minds, right?
Yeah.
And so I would say, honestly, I do know that COVID 19 is a lot on people's minds, but I still want to encourage you. Yes, Panadol is very safe. 1 gram 3 times a day, every 8 hours, will really, 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 really help to bring down some of those pains. And do not just take Panadol when you have pain. I always recommend, if you when you start it, take it for 3 days continuously non-stop. In addition to that, hydrate yourself. Drink a lot of water. Boost your immune system. Do the normal things that you always do on a natural basis. I always say Trinidad and Tobago is blessed, especially Tobago. You have natural foods here. It's natural. It's good. Boost your immune system, eat lots of fruits, hydrate yourself, and then take these medications, Panadol especially, vitamin C, to help you to minimize some of these side effects. All right. Mhm.
Yeah, certainly. And it's on a personal level, and I like that. Also, what about the people who wear dirty masks? It's
Mm.
like we need to get them to come out of that habit as well, because then now you'll create a different scenario where you're getting yourself ill, you know?
Well, brother James, I don't know why you had to bring up such a, wearing, wearing of dirty mask, but
But you feel it.
like in everything we talk about hygiene. Some of these diseases thrive a lot on us and our personal hygiene. I would say hand washing, for example. People have seemed to forget about hand washing. Sometimes it takes a catalyst to start it. I was very happy when I went to Penny Savers, and a couple of individuals in line did not wash their hands. The security was nice enough to come and say, "Hey, listen, the sink is there, the soap is there. Please go and wash your hand." And he rightly pointed out the three fellas that did not wash their hands. That was quite
Yeah.
impressive. So sometimes it
Mm-hmm.
takes a little bit of a reminder, to do this thing. And sometimes I really I really want to encourage the public that think about yourself as an agent of change. You do it. When you reach a place and you see that people are not doing it, go ahead and wash your hands. Maybe stay a little bit longer so that they can see you washing your hands, instead of trying to be a police or a superhero by telling people that their masks are dirty and change it and everything. Maybe if you have an extra one, you offer them. I believe that you should not point out problems if you don't have a solution. So if you have a solution, you have an extra mask, help someone else, because you do not know the person's situation in life. Instead of pointing out that their mask is dirty, I would rather think that everybody should walk about with 2 or 3 extra masks, and then offer it to them, show them how to put it on. Lots of people don't know. People don't realize that you have to put it above your nose. People still putting it below their nose, and some people are wearing it wrongly. So we should all take it upon ourselves to become a frontline worker, because that's the most we do in the hospital. We remind people to wash their hands, we remind people to wear their mask appropriately, we remind people to social distance themselves, and to maintain that distancing, and we try to encourage people and their mental health. So if each one of us can do that, or to set an example by doing it, I think everybody then will just fall in place.
Indeed.
Each one help one.
That's right. That's right. That's
That
right.
is
Yeah.
so good. And I heard friends say that they treat everyone as if they have the disease, meaning that they don't shun them, but they stay
Yeah.
the 6 feet away, whether it be family, friend, or foe.
Mhm.
They keep them at a distance whenever they reach, or anything like that. And we really have to be mindful about those things, brother James and Dr. Oben. That social
Yeah.
distancing,
Right. Right.
yeah,
Yeah,
because I don't know, I'm continuing seeing the figures, keep on rising, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of worrisome because in Trinidad we have 14 deaths today, right? And
Mhm.
546 cases,
Yeah.
and
yeah,
I'm wondering
Yeah.
what is happening, And in Tobago we had some more deaths. We had 2 deaths today in Tobago and 49
Yeah.
cases, and it's kind of worrying to me because
Mhm.
I'm seeing a longer lockdown, a lot of, and I thought the cases would have been lower by now, because if you look at last year,
Yeah.
right, when we really
Mhm.
thought that we had things under control, and then this year, boom, out of nowhere, the numbers just skyrocketed and the deaths just skyrocketed in matter this month alone, we had how many deaths? Three hundred and something, 100 and something deaths, something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
300 and something deaths in this month alone. Yeah, and it's kind of scary.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary. So, as I said, we just have to keep on telling people and urging people about, the sanitization of their hands and wearing a mask
Yeah.
and stuff and things properly. So, Dr. Oben, so you
Yeah.
strongly would advise people to go and get vaccinated, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mentioned before that because the vaccine, stimulates your own antibodies to fight off the COVID-19 virus. So it reduces your chance of getting a severe infection in the first place. And then, if you think about that, what that means in the long run is that it reduces the chances of you infecting others, especially your loved ones. So, the current fight right now is really prevention of reducing continuous spread. So COVID, the vaccine is one of the arsenal you use in addition to washing your hands, in addition to maintaining social distancing, in addition to wearing your mask. Is now one of the weapons we use to minimize that continuous spread. And eventually, like in the US, we hope to reach a point where, like in some other places where they open up, people now could walk
Yeah.
about without a mask. In the UK, for example, 2 days ago, they recorded their first day without a death. you know um
Mhm.
Majority of them have been vaccinated. So that is our goal, and that's the reason why I would really, really push for everybody this week. If you're still scared out there, you're still worried, I hope that after today, you're empowered to really sign up, go take the vaccine. If you're worried, speak to individuals. If there's one thing that I always ask people, why do you reach the hospital or reach the health center and then you stop talking? All of a sudden you're asking no question, you
Yeah.
know. So that is the time when, I bet you every healthcare worker will be willing to answer your question, no matter how tired they are, no matter how fatigued, mentally fatigued and drained we are, we would still be happy to answer your questions. So it's just a matter of you saying, okay, these are my concerns, these are my fears. What should I do? What do you advise me to do? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Excellent. And also,
Hmm.
the where I want to ask, how I want to ask this
Hmm.
in terms of the personal attitude that people have to take. Prevention is better than cure, right?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
what what measures to further help them besides just boosting your immune system, right? What else can people do to boost your immune system? You take the vaccine, you educate yourself, you take the vaccine, and apply the measures that the health authorities are instructing you to do, right? So, and outside of that, carry on about your normal day.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because those things that you've just listed, they sound very simple, but that right there covers 90, close to 100% of what we are supposed to do to prevent further spread of COVID-19. That's the most that you could do, um, as well as also be on the lookout for symptoms that are worsening. If you find out that your symptoms are worsening, call the hotline. So that is the only other addition that I would tell you. You find out that you're doing all of those things. You've taken your Panadol, you've taken your medications, but you're breathing a little bit funny. You're breathing a little bit heavy, right? Um, you think that things may be getting worse. Seek seek care, seek advice, call the hotline. They'll allow you to speak with the doctor, or at Scarborough Health Center, for example, you'll be allowed to speak to someone, and they would assess you and then determine how to move further. Because we must remember that it's not only COVID-19 that is the cause of some people's illnesses. Some people already have they're very sick, but because they're so worried about COVID-19, they're staying home. They're not
Yeah.
going to see any doctor. They're so scared. They're locking themselves up in their room. They're not
Yeah.
coming to see us. And those are the ones we want to see. We want to see people who are sick. We want
Yeah.
to see people who are really, really sick. Um, so I would say be on the lookout. Be on the lookout for worsening of your symptoms. All right. I see some questions popping up on Facebook. I don't have access to it, but there's some very interesting conversations going on in the background.
Yeah, I realize some
Yeah.
people are asking about Tylenol, you know?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
But
yes,
one of the questions I see it piqued my interest here, Dr. Oben, and
yes.
someone asked is about the timeline in which the vaccine are made and are available. They say most of the time where they do the research or where they find out is that a vaccine take between 5 to 7 years to really to develop
Yeah,
and make, and this one was just made in under like a year and a half or two, you know.
very true.
And
Yeah.
yeah, they want to know give your view on that.
Okay, so this is the first time that we have had a pandemic that is challenging the entire world at the same time. It's one of the first known pandemics to challenge everybody at the same time. So, um, whereas back then you have different individuals focusing on different conditions, this time you had the entire world focusing on one vaccine. It was either they focus on that vaccine or they shut down the economy for the entire world for the next 5 years to come. So everybody was focused on solving this one issue. The scientific community in the entire world came together for this one vaccine. That's the first point. So there was worldwide cooperation and scientific sharing. Of course, social media, Facebook, and the different forms of sharing enabled us to advance our scientific knowledge. Right. Secondly, there was a lot of funding for the vaccine. There was a lot of funding for the development of the vaccine, right? And then the priority around the world was to get a COVID-19 vaccine. Everybody had that in the midst of the mind. All the big companies and all the big research companies had that in the back of their mind. So again, we would have also gotten knowledge from previous research. Remember that COVID-19 and what it is, the SARS itself had already existed. So we had
Yeah.
previous scientific knowledge about this. So it was nothing new to us. What was new was we did not think that it would spread so rapidly and across the world so fast. But the scientific knowledge behind it was already there. And then again, what happened was that if you look at it, um, everything was supposed to be completed in a particular time, at a particular time. So part of the completion process was cut short because if you look at these vaccines, it says approved for emergency use. Therefore, most of them, the research process, once they started seeing that it was beneficial, they decided to start to roll it out to individuals. Usually, other vaccines take another 5 years continuous down the road to look for every single possible errors in the vaccine. This one was rushed because everybody was looking for a solution, and there was a lot of funding involved in developing this vaccine. So that was one of the reasons why it came out in less than no time. Yeah.
One thing concerned me too about these vaccines.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
think there are only one. Is it the Pfizer that
Mhm.
they are administrating to children? Because I don't think any of the vaccine that are sent to Trinidad and Tobago we could give to any one of our children who is 18 years or under or something, I think like that.
Absolutely.
Right?
I think I looked at the Ministry of Health website up till, was it 2 days ago? I think that's one of the contraindications. Less than 18, they don't administer to less than 18. And pregnant and breastfeeding mothers, they don't administer to them as well. And those with previous history of a severe allergic reactions, they don't administer those vaccines to them as well. So those are the categories that we don't administer. It's contraindicated.
Now, this question, I know it is out of your hand, right?
Yeah.
Because this is something read for the minister and the Ministry of Health and things. But
Yeah.
so, like, we always seen about Pfizer, and Moderna. These are the vaccine that my aunt take in the US, right? Which is my
Right.
wife aunt, right? And her daughter
Mhm.
get it as well, and she's just 14 years old. Um, they seems to be working very well because she told us last week that they had a baseball game in New York, and with the baseball game, when you show your vaccination card, if you are vaccinated, you sit down in one section with no mask on, and you can sit down close to people. And the other side, if you are not vaccinated, you social distance and keep on your mask, right? So they are at some point of opening and being normal, go back to a normalcy, right? Why doesn't the
Absolutely.
government try to seek these kind of vaccine? Because we heard about the Moderna, we heard about the Pfizer, and I think
Mm.
one of those vaccine you could give to children. So why doesn't the government try to get those vaccine here for us in Trinidad and Tobago? As I said, I know that is out of your thing, but just
Well,
wondering.
yeah. Well, for the purpose of this discussion here, I don't think I do have that answer. And you rightly said is yes, the government, the decision they made, and again, I like I said earlier on, I have no reason to doubt their thinking process because remember that when it started, Trinidad and Tobago was ranked one of the best countries in terms of how they handled the
Yeah,
crisis. So they made the right decision in the beginning. Why do we now have to not trust them when they're making these other decisions? So why do you trust somebody for one um, um, process and then don't trust him for the next decision that they make? So again, I say I trust their reasoning process, how they got to get one vaccine over the other. The reason why they did that, I don't know. I'm not sure why they went for AstraZeneca as opposed to Pfizer and Moderna. But I do think that due diligence would have taken place and they would have thought to themselves, for the population that I have, for the number of persons that I have, for the amount of maybe funds that I have available to me, this is what I could purchase. And it doesn't mean that one is inferior to the other. It just means that this is, I could get this one quickly. This one has the same efficacy as the other ones. And I don't think that, or they don't think that this, by getting, they are cheating the public if they get AstraZeneca as opposed to getting Pfizer or Moderna. I don't think that that will be the reasoning. The government, because if that were the case, if you think that they were doing the wrong thing, the government would have given us AstraZeneca and then fly to America and take Moderna. So I don't see that happening. They're taking the same vaccine that they're giving us. So I think they made the right decision, you know, in doing it. And the reason why they did it, I think only them could answer. I'm not too sure why. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. Not to come to the defense of our government, but I think the Prime Minister said it has to be WHO approved. And then two, he says also availability. They're knocking at everybody door. So who's
Yeah.
to say that they didn't
Yeah.
try to get Moderna or otherwise? That is just the availability of it, and they're giving it to sovereign states only. So
Yeah,
there's a lot
yeah.
of flaws and obstacles that may be preventing them or hindering them. We don't know.
Absolutely, absolutely. Someone also mentioned that they said they think options would have been available, and then but availability is the issue, So the government is having a hard time getting them. Maybe that's
Yeah.
somebody in the government that knows better than I do for sure. And so if that's the case, then I think then she is absolutely correct.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think someone also is asking, can you have antibodies of the virus and not actually have the virus? Yeah, that's yeah. So what let me explain it like this, right? Every time you get an infection, right? Say you get infected from the virus, your body produces antibodies. Those antibodies are produced in response to the virus. So antibodies have two roles. They learn about the virus and they attack the virus, right? So that in case the virus reintroduces itself, the antibodies are alert to it. Those are antibodies. So what vaccines do is that they take the virus, they change the configuration of the actual virus itself, right? They change that configuration and they insert it into your body so that the body learns about the virus. Your body develops antibodies to the virus. And in case you get infected with that virus in the future, the response to attacking the virus is faster. You
right,
know, you're able to, your body is able to quickly respond and to quickly suppress the growth of the virus. All right. So that's how I kind of make it, if to make it easier to understand. I always tell people, imagine that you have security guards at the port, down in Scarborough, and you have invaders coming in. But the invaders are people like us. They look like us. They come from another Caribbean island. If you're not able to identify them as a security guard on the port, you then would allow them to get into the country. When they get into the country and they infect the entire population, it's already too late. But if you provide the security guards at the port with knowledge of people who don't look like us, who don't sound like us, they have that knowledge already. Even though people invade the country in their hundreds, two or three might pass, but they will suppress
Yeah.
it and they will call for help. So it will not be a, it will not, the damage will not be as bad as when they didn't know. That's kind of how antibodies and viruses and these things work. It's giving your body the ammunition to recognize these viruses, addressing them, fighting them on time, responding on time before they cause damage to the body.
right. And I
Yeah.
seen someone asking, if you got the virus, is it possible to get it again?
Ab- Absolutely, absolutely. Remember, when you get the flu vaccine, when you get the flu vaccine doesn't mean that you will not get the flu,
Right,
right? It simply means that your chances of the flu getting worse. So, for example, when you don't, when you're not vaccinating yourself against the flu and you're not doing the right things, your immune system is kind of weakened and you get the flu. It usually lasts 7 days. 3 days, your nostril is stuffy, you can't sleep, maybe you have runny nose, you have blocked nostrils, you can't sleep, you feel bad, you feel terrible. But when you do get the flu vaccine on a yearly basis, it's not that you will not get the flu. It's just that if the flu were to last 7 days in your system, this time it will last for 3 days. So yes, you could still get infected, but the severity of it will be reduced.
right. Lovely. And about it becoming airborne now. And I'm not getting any concrete research on it being airborne.
hmm hmm
What are your takes on that?
Well, like I told you, the COVID-19 is evolving. It's a baby disease. It's a year old now, a year and a half old, maybe if a year and a half old. It's as it evolves, we're learning so much about it, whether it's airborne particles. I would suspect that anything with respiratory droplets, of course, there's a possibility that it would be airborne. Um, I am sure that there is a lot of research going into finding out if it's airborne as well, right? But the concrete answer, the definitive answer, is something that will come out in due time, right? Whether it's yeah, it will come out in due time for sure. Yeah.
Brother
Um,
Garvin?
doc, yeah, no,
Yes.
but doc, we are seeing there I saw in the news recently that they say the Indian variant has
Hmm.
reached places like Venezuela and stuff like that, right?
Hmm.
Um, no, we know the COVID is mutating ever so often, but what is the different? But they talk about the Indian variant and talk about the Brazilian variant, and they had also spoke about the variant from England. What are the difference between all these different variants?
Well, I think the difference is where it comes from. So if they
Oh,
have another variant in Trinidad and Tobago, they'll probably call it the TT variant, you know? So it differs. It differs from country where it originates from, but the symptoms I'm pretty sure would be the same, and it's just a change in the configuration that makes it a different virus, so to speak. But we know this about viruses. We know that viruses are they're very dynamic. Well, I would say, they're prone to those changes. We know that they do change, and it's just that the virus is responding faster than the scientific community. When we're trying to stop COVID-19, this one pops up, this one pops up. But I'll tell you what it's done is that it has made us a little bit wiser, that we have to now start thinking. This is a new branch of medicine. We have to now start thinking ahead of conditions. you know um, we have been groomed, our generation has been groomed to think about the conditions, and anticipate certain conditions based on symptoms and treat them. So maybe the future is trying to think ahead before the condition manifests itself. Okay, so if there is a TT variant, what is it going to look like? How is it going to look like? How are you going to stop it before it even becomes before it even attacks us? We have to start thinking ahead. So this is what I think, in my personal opinion, COVID-19 has done to us. It's made us now, as physicians, as scientists, we have to now start thinking ahead. And then what I'm also appreciative of COVID-19 is that this is one of the first times where the entire population now is almost becoming like doctors. You speak to people and they have so much knowledge about medicine. They have so much knowledge about things that I do. If they talk about immunity, they talk about antibodies, they talk about things that I took more than 3 months in med school to try to understand. The population, most people know it, and they know it better than me. So if there's something I'm appreciative of COVID-19, that's some of the positives that I've taken from it. And I would say, as we look and as we read about the variants, I don't think we should be so much concerned about um, what's it called, Indian variant, Brazilian variant, and all these other variants. We should start thinking of which direction we want to see ourselves by next year. We are hoping that by next year the majority of the country are vaccinated. We are hoping that by next year people are so educated about the virus that they wash their hands even after COVID-19. They keep their hygiene practices, and they're able to maintain their immune system.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I think sorry, brother James. I think sometimes the research that people do online and doing their different research on different websites, they see all the different things that they put in the vaccine, like the different antibody, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
one of the videos I watched, they say they take animal DNA and put it in the vaccine, and that will alter our DNA. So I remember the wife and I was watching a movie the other day. She doesn't like me to watch the zombie movies. And she asked me why I keep on watching those movies. I said, well, they say the vaccine got on it past in years to come, so I had to watch the movie to see how to kill them. you know, but sometimes it's according to what you look at on the internet. When you're doing your little research to find out about certain things, it might corrupt your mind because it has so many different conspiracy about the vaccine and the virus and who made it and what it intended was to do, and so you have to be so careful what you're really looking at. You understand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one way in which you should. I appreciate people who look at those things as well, because honestly, in life, you have to look at both sides, and you have to look at both sides, and you have to look at things and analyze it for yourself. Uh, 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 a patient came one time and told me that the vaccine is government's way of trying to put a chip into everybody's skin in Trinidad and Tobago, and they're trying to. So I say, who's going to put the chip now? They say IT. I say, which of them IT? Which of them IT going to put the GGCell or B Mobile? Which one of them going to put the chip? I say, how many times you hear, baby? This is not a shade to P Mobile or Digicel, but every time you put it, something fails. So if you're relying on them people putting a chip on the vaccine, then we're in trouble. So you have to listen to those conspiracies. You have to listen to both sides, and then you have to make a decision for yourself about what makes sense. It's not, people are going to have their own way of thinking. It's always, and that's the beauty about life, that all of us cannot think the same. All of us are different human beings with different ideas, with different concepts, and we need everybody in this thing. We don't only need doctors. We need you guys at the church. We need the spiritual aspect. We need people to pray for us. We need everybody. We need the layman on the street who going to Google and reading something else to come and warn us that, hey, I heard that this is a side effect you get from this puts me on alert. Somebody comes in with this pain, I start to wonder, hey, is it because of that side effect somebody may have mentioned? We need the non-scientific community as well. We need everybody on this, to come together to try to understand this thing, and everybody's input is important. The spiritual aspect is as important as the scientific aspect. So when you talk about frontline workers, you should not only think about your doctors, you should also think about the police officers that are doing their job, the fire officers. We should think about those people who help us in the hospital that people don't talk about, the cleaners, the sanitization workers. They're there every day putting themselves, cleaning those parts every single day in the hospital. And those are the little things that I want to really encourage the public to do. Send up a nice word to them. Everybody, frontline, even those staying at home. It's not easy to stay at home and follow government protocols. So everyone is in this together. Everybody should be commended and everybody should be encouraged. Unfortunately, the negative aspect of the news, or the negative aspects, is what we look at social media for every single day. But I really want to encourage you guys to put those positive things out there. Those sanitation workers that are there every single day. Imagine if they don't take that garbage out, how our streets are going to look like. They decide to say they call in sick, they're afraid of COVID, they're not coming out to carry any garbage. What's going to happen? So everyone to me is a frontline worker, right? And everyone should be commended for the job that they're doing to come out of this storm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
And with
Yeah, go ahead, Brother James.
all right, yeah, with the protocol to follow when you get tested, or when you are found positive, or before you're found positive. So I go to get tested. I ain't get the results yet, right? What protocols do I have to follow? And then when I get my results, what is the next step? Whether it's negative or positive.
So the first thing is that in our minds we have to quarantine. We're home. So let's start from there. Let's start from all of us being home, right? And then for some reason you start to develop, let's say, fever. You start to have symptoms now. You start to have symptoms of, let's say, you have fever. And this is where I say everybody should have a little kit at home where you have your thermometer and you have your Panadol. So remember, when you have fever, it may not just be COVID-19. It could be so many other things, you know. So maintain your social distancing, take your Panadol for your fever or for your pain, anything you're having. But then when you take your Panadol for 3 days and your fever maintaining, keep becoming high, they're staying very high despite taking Panadol, the next step is, okay, you know what? Come morning, let me call someone. You've taken it for 3 days, you've taken your Panadol for 4 days, you've checked your temperature for 4 days continuously, your temperature is still very high. You document it, and then you call someone because the doctor is going to ask you, what is your temperature? And you're able to say, hey, doc, my temperature has been 38. I've been taking Panadol for 4 days now, 3 times a day, every day, and it's not. That to me, as a doctor, is a red flag. That says, okay, you know
Yeah.
what? I will bring you in to test you, right? But most of the times, what we get is somebody calls, say, at 2 a.m., and they've not done anything yet. So they've not checked their temperature, they've not taken no medications, they're having fever. That fever or that pain could be due to so many things. So on that type of person, what we're going to say is, okay, you know what? Let's manage it at the level of the health center. I think there's a number to call. They would either send someone to come and swab you at home, or they might call you to go swab you at one of the centers. I don't know if it's up in the Ford or Bacolet. Somewhere they swab
Yeah.
wherever they call you to get swabbed. Um, so when that is done, right, they will call you for your results. If you test positive, then they will start doing contact tracing, right? If you test negative, they will encourage you to stay home and keep doing what you're doing, quarantine yourself. If you test positive and you're still strong, you're not having any other symptoms apart from the fact that you tested positive on a COVID test, you're not having any other symptoms, okay, they would ask you to quarantine home and keep doing your normal things, social distancing. We would also recommend that you don't go out to the public. You could now get family members to get stuff for you indoors. When you test positive, it's not the time to go and shop. When you test positive, is what that means, therefore, is, okay, you know what, you're in a stage where you might infect other persons. So this is a time where, if you test positive, discuss with your family members, discuss with the people you were liming the day before, and say, listen, this thing is positive, everybody needs to social distance now. And then they will call you for contact tracing. You could tell them those you were in contact with, etc., etc., and then they will trace everybody. So the first stage really is to report your symptoms, right? And when you report your symptoms, the doctor, whoever is on the other end of the line, will take you through those various steps on what you should do next.
Thanks.
But what I want to say, Dr. Oben, sometimes
Yes.
we have, especially with that fever part,
Yeah.
it doesn't really have to be COVID,
Yes. 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 Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes.
Because
Yes.
with my experience with my son, I remember in 2018, he had contracted, he's sickle cell, so he
Yeah.
got a lung
Yeah.
infection. They call it a community
Acquired infection. Yeah.
spread
Yeah.
pneumonia, right?
Yeah.
Infection, right? When I carried him to the hospital, I told him what his temperature was. They gave him something, sent him home, and then 2 days after, the temperature wasn't going anywhere. So it's a came back and down where they did the test, and they found out he had a lung infection. So what I'm saying, even though we have that fever and something else, it doesn't. Some people are fearful that they had COVID, but doesn't have to be COVID. They have to be something else that is wrong with them, because you say there are other sickness and other things out there still.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
that's what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. The most important thing is talking, do not be afraid to speak with your healthcare
Yeah.
provider. Always tell the doc, listen, doc, even if you're known to have, say, asthma, say, doc, doc, I always have asthma, but this asthma feeling a little bit different. And the doctor will always ask you, what do you mean different? How different? You say, doc, when I have asthma, 2 days, I take my puff, I get better. But this one now, I take my puff, I'm doing everything, nothing not getting better. That to me is a red flag. That says, okay, you know what? Let me start thinking of something other than asthma. That
Exactly.
to me is yeah. So this is the time where we encourage everyone to really be alert about themselves. Doc, feeling a little bit different. Let's have a conversation. This feeling a little bit different. So that we could know that, okay, you know what, this is, we need to intervene immediately to help this person. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
excellent.
Just one more thing, just more, Brother James. I was talking to a friend the other day, right? And
yeah.
his wife got COVID, and obviously he had to go into quarantine. He and his daughter, and then they did a PCR test. But when they was waiting for that PCR test to come, and all these things, and started to feel all these symptoms that he heard about. And then he let a friend call the hospital, and they sent an ambulance him. Then they did a what they call it, the quick test, the
Mhm.
rapid test. He was negative, right?
Uh-huh.
But what I'm getting at now, sometimes you're in quarantine, you're not sure if you don't sure if you have it, but your mental playing with you. Are there anything in place for people, like a counselor or something? Because it's a very scary thing. Waiting on that test, in quarantine, in that space, it can really play on a mental though,
Yeah, yeah.
you know.
The mental health, I'm glad you brought up mental health. Mental health is an important factor now. And I want to stress that not only when COVID-19 is upon us, now, even after COVID-19, you're going to see still some people may be suffering from post. This is a trauma situation, post traumatic, stress from what happened for the last year and a half. So mental health is very, very important. It's something I don't take lightly, to be honest. When people come and tell you their mental situation and what they're going through, it's not something that I do take lightly. It's very, very important. You have to listen to them. The first thing about that you should know when it comes to mental health is really education. You see, when you have knowledge about something, you're less stressed, right? And what does knowledge entails? Knowledge entails knowing about the condition one, knowing when to seek help, what when your symptoms are getting worse, and knowing where to go. And the good thing about Trinidad and Tobago is that this information is readily available. We talk about COVID-19 almost every single day. We talk about what your symptoms are, and there's so many flyers about who to seek help from in terms of counseling, mental health workers, counselors, etc., etc. There are so many places or so many persons you can call. If at any time you do not have those numbers, you could always call the information booth. I think they do have those numbers. Or you could chat with us. I think that the flyer is somewhere where someone can send it to you. Or it's also on the Ministry of Health website. Actually, I looked at it there. They have those numbers. Counselors in Tobago, counselors in Trinidad. And the beauty about it is that you could even do this by phone, you could do this via internet, and you could talk to somebody, to help you navigate your way through this crisis. And nobody is really 100% aware or know everything about this pandemic. So that even makes it better because all of us are in the same situation. So do not feel that you're alone, you're standing alone. Do not feel ashamed that you have some mental condition, you're thinking you're scared. Everybody is. Even us healthcare professionals, every day I
Yeah.
set foot in the hospital, I don't know if I'm going to get it or not. I don't know, and it's worrisome. I worry about it. I'm torn. I have to decide to save a patient's life, help a patient, and put myself, at risk in order to do it. But that's what we're supposed to do, right? So nobody should feel like they're alone. You should seek help. Seek help, ask for help, call the numbers, talk to somebody. Mhm.
True.
Yeah.
It also begs the question, the accuracy of the test, where, the
Mhm.
positive or negative result.
Well, think about it this way. Even a pregnancy test has false negatives. Every test, everything that is not made by God has some degree of error in it. And then again, one part of medicine is that doctors, we don't use tests to treat patients. We interpret the test within a certain context. All right. So if somebody, for example, let me use a pregnant lady. If a lady is looking pregnant, her abdomen is big, she is vomiting, her legs are big, and the test comes back negative. You think I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, she's not pregnant. You could see that she's pregnant. What I'm going to say is I'm going to question that particular test that she did on that particular day. There could be so many reasons. She might maybe place the urine the wrong way on the test. It could be an error that an error in trying to do it. It could be that she took out the test from the back, decided to go do something else, wash her hands, came back to repeat the test. The test has been out in the open for more than 3 hours and it caused a false negative. So there are so many reasons why a test may come out false negative. It doesn't mean that we are, when we send the patient home, we are saying that the test is 100% accurate. No. If somebody comes in with just fever, the person looking like the person has all the symptoms of COVID, and the person has a negative test, we are going to question that particular test. And there are things that we're going to do to try to see if we could.
I just want to thank Dr. Oben and say that we are keeping him and his frontline workers in our prayers because they are doing an excellent job. As I say, physically, mentally, they are tired and know that for sure. They are working on their off days. They are going an extra mile. And hats off to you guys. Keep up the good work in this fight against this pandemic, against this disease. And hopefully one day in the near future we could come outside without any mask, without any fear or hugging or touching or our loved ones. Yeah. And we
Absolutely.
want to just keep on
Absolutely.
continue and encouraging our frontline workers, and the people not to give up.
Of course, absolutely. Thank you guys so much for having me. It's always a pleasure. I would always come when you call, especially Bishop. If he calls, I can't say no. There's no way. So of course, I would always be there. By the grace of God, I'll always be there.
Yes, Dr. Oben. We thank you very much for
Yes.
taking the time out. Yes, and
Yes.
informing us and our viewers. And we want to extend blessings upon you, your life, your team, your staff. Yes,
Yeah.
and we want to wish you well
Yeah,
in all your endeavors going forward.
thank you. The staff at the Scarborough, the staff at the Scarborough, please don't say my team and my staff.
Yeah.
Yeah, please. It's our Tobago and Trinidad and Tobago, and
Yeah,
please don't forget. Yeah, don't just say doctors. It's doctors, nurses, the sanitation workers, the attendants, the security there,
yeah,
the cleaners. I'm amazed when I drive in the morning. I see those cleaners. It's amazing. They're there every single day. They've not called in sick yet. So please say a prayer for them. Drop a nice card for the cleaners. People are always attracted to us, doctors and nurses. Drop a nice card for the cleaners. Drop some fruits for the cleaners, and just show them some love. Tell them, show them that you guys are thinking of them as well. And I think we all in this together. In a good day, we will sit down, we will talk, we will lime in better circumstances, and talk about this as if it were in the past.
yeah,
So I'm looking forward to those times. Thank you guys so much for having me.
yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you
And
very
for
much.
everybody online, thank you.
Yes. And sometimes we really do overlook those people, cleaners and even the gardeners and stuff. Again. But it's thanks to Sister Nero at the command center for hooking us up.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you very much. Talk to you, making us look good here online. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Thank
Amen.
you. Thank you, guys. Bye.
So, thanks again for coming, and to all our viewers on One Man Talk. And see you next week. It's always a pleasure having you. All your questions and everything. So, Brother Keron, until we reach again on One Man Talk.
Yeah.